Welcome ninjas to the CoderDojo. How's everyone going today? Did everyone enjoy their long weekend? I've tried the camera in a bit of a different spot. Normally it's down here underneath my monitor. And today I've got you on top of the monitor. So this is the Easter egg hunt game we're going to be making today. Oh, this one. So the game's quite simple. We're generating eggs that are falling down, and we're hunting for any particular type of egg. And if we hit the wrong egg, you can see we go down in points. But if we hit the right egg, we go up in points. And we've got a few nice little features that kind of let the player know whether or not they've done the right thing. If they hit the right egg, it sort of goes green for a second. If they hit the wrong egg, it goes red for a second. Welcome, Blake. Welcome, Crazy Kid. Welcome, Will. How is everyone today? Yeah, it's the same room, just a different camera setup. Oh, you did your first stream today, Will. Very nice indeed. Oh, the yellow ones. Oh. So, as always, we're just going to give a few minutes just so everyone has a bit of time to get here, because there's usually a few people who come in just a few minutes in. The numbers always go up a little bit. We'll see if this time I remember to remove the welcome to the CoderDojo, the lesson will be starting soon sign when we actually start. So far, I've never remembered. We'll see. How's it going, Simon? Alrighty. So, while we're waiting for a few more people to arrive, a few things to bear in mind. So, set up with 2 screens if possible. If you can, try and have me on one screen, so like an iPad or a laptop or a TV. And if you can, then try and have another screen for whatever you're doing, so the computer or a laptop or something like that. It just makes it a bit easier to follow if you've got me up on one screen and my stream and you're following along. We'll see if I remember this time. We'll see if I remember this time, Blake. I'll probably forget. So in the chat, try not to spam. So try not to put in the same thing over and over and over again. Also, try not to put in loads of emojis into one message, because it just kind of fills up the chat screen and kind of makes it difficult for us to see what each other are saying. And that's kind of what chat is for. Chat is for us being able to talk to each other. So also in chat, keep things clean, so no swearing or anything. Keep the language PG. And use the online version of Scratch, if at all possible. So, let's make a start. Let's remove this welcome to the CoderDojo sign. Haha! Uh-oh, that was the wrong thing. All right, let's bring that back. I wonder if I can Control-Z that. No. All right. Let's... screen capture is what I need, I think. Is it this one? Alrighty. Cool. Like it. Make it a bit wider. There we go. All right. So, to get to Scratch, what we're going to do is go to Google, drag this over here, don't need that. It's all right, Blake, I fixed it. It's fixed. Everything's fine. Okay. We go to Scratch. We just type Scratch into Google, and we click Scratch, which is the first one that comes up. Scratch, something Imagine Create, I think. And then we click Create. That's how we get to the Scratch website, if you've never gone to the Scratch website before. Don't need you for now. The other thing... Oh, wait, I need to sign in. There we go. Very good. The other thing as well is if during this project your project is not working, something's gone wrong, or you're stuck, you don't know how to fix it, then what I need you to do is I need you to write into chat, my project isn't working, I have hit share, which is this button here, got to make sure you share. So it's just that, yeah, so my Scratch, my project isn't working, I've shared, my Scratch name is, and then say your Scratch name. Otherwise, I can never remember everyone's Scratch names, aside from their real names, aside from their YouTube names. So it's just easier if you put it all in one message, say, my project isn't working, I've shared, my Scratch name is Palethorn, which is what my Scratch name is. And just write it out, and then that way I'll go, okay, great, I'll look you up, find your project, and see if we can fix it. The other thing is, when I'm helping fixing someone's project, and I try not to spend too much time doing this until we get to the end, but sometimes if, you know, we'll stop partway through to do that. If I'm fixing someone else's project, then follow along the rest of everyone else, because I might miss what the problem is, and you might fix it for me. Or, if you have a problem with your Scratch project, you might see the same problem with your Scratch project and fix it. That way, and then you can say in chat, oh, it's okay, Jonathan, mine's working now, it's fine. Do you remember last session, last Thursday? Spent ages looking at the code going, why isn't it working? And then we realized it was 7 minus instead of -7. And that was all it was, for the code just to not work. And the character couldn't go left. Just nothing was happening. So when we go to fix projects, I'm going to rely on you guys to try and help fix the problem as well. All right. That's great. That's awesome. So the other thing that we need to do is... Oh, it's gone from my mind. It's probably fine. Okay. All right, I think we're good to go. So let's start. Oh yeah, I just got to make sure this isn't too. Yeah, that's better. Now you can see my sprites. Okay, so I'm just going to get up my notes here. Cool. All right, so first thing that we need to do, I have to get used to looking up at the camera there instead of down to the camera here. And if I ever look over there, it's because I'm looking at chat or my notes. That's all good. So first thing that we need to do, are we all ready to make an Easter egg game? Alrighty. So we need to delete this scratch cat here. So just click on and also, I just need to quickly fix something. I've just realized my mouse isn't visible. Oh, no, it is visible? It is visible. Yeah, good. My mouse is visible. Good. thought for because there's a setting you need to turn on to make your mouse visible in OBS, and because I had to reset the screen capture, I thought, oh no, I've lost that setting. Oh yes, that's the other thing. There is maybe a 15-second delay between you receiving this video and me saying something. Like one of these days, we're gonna have to measure it. But I see what you say. And if it seems like I'm ignoring you, I'm not ignoring you. There's just a bit of a delay until the video catches up to what I've already said. So when I'm responding to you in chat, it's all good. All right, so let's delete the cat. And let's make a new sprite. Let's paint one. So bottom right corner. And again, oh, that's interesting. It's cutting off. Oh, that's probably okay. Okay, it's cutting off the background section for me, but that's probably not super necessary. So down here, we click on the cat. We click on paint a new sprite. We click on this circle here. And it doesn't really matter what color it is, I think. I'm going to start off with a red egg. Doesn't need to be huge. You can kind of adjust your egg until it looks about right to you. And remember, you can click on select here, this sort of mouse tool, to grab your egg, move it around. And then when you do that, make sure that the cross on the egg and the crosshairs, they're sort of snapped together to make sure the egg is right in the middle of the sprite. And you can do things like move it around like this until you've got the right shape that you want. I'm pretty happy with that. That's a pretty good egg. I'll make mine a little bigger. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to make some more eggs. Just get a little more squished. Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on up in the top left corner where it says costume 1, okay? I'm going to right-click and go duplicate. So, and we can do this a bunch of times. Start off with making 5 eggs. So, first things first, I want the last egg to be red. I want the second to last egg to be green. And there's 2 ways you can, actually no, there's probably one best way of doing this. And select the egg, and then you can just change the color here. And then what we're going to do is going to make some variations on eggs. And I'm going to show you something which you may not have used before. Now I wonder if this will work in bitmap mode. So let's click on the fill, and then let's select color. Now, you can see when we click on the color, when we have the fill tool selected, we should have like a blue box here, and then these kind of boxes with kind of like shadowy kind of filters on them. And you can see if we click this one, so now we get to choose 2 different colors. So we can go, one color can be green and one color can be orange. And then if we click on the egg, now we have this sort of interesting shifted, I think the term is gradient of color. So, and we can probably, I wonder if we can, if you select it, yeah, you can change the color. So I'm going to make some colors that are not red and green, because I want those. Let's get a nice blue here. There we go. Because I want those to be obvious when we click on the eggs. If we click on the correct egg, it's going to flash green for a second. If we click on the incorrect egg, it's going to flash red for a second. All right. So what we want is we want 3 sort of Easter eggs, and then we want a fully green egg and a fully red egg. Okay. So I'm going to. Oh, yep. Cool. You can select the egg. Can select one of these filters or gradients. Ooh, purple. Yes. Yeah, that's cool. So this is kind of interesting. Oh yeah, yellow. We need a yellow. Make the other color orange. There we go. So another thing that you can do in your own time, if you want, is you can muck around with putting like lines over your eggs if you want to give them like stripes. If you ever want to undo a thing that you just did, if you just press Control and then Z on your keyboard, then it'll undo whatever you did. Usually, it's very useful, Control Z. Okay. I hope my face cam isn't glitching anymore, Blake. Alright, so we should have 3 colorful eggs, a green egg, and a red egg. Okay? Now what I want you to do is I want you to name all of these costumes. So we want to click on, so each of these costumes here, if we click on costume 1, we can see we can rename them. Ah, Jack, how's it going? Sure, Jack. What I'll do to quickly get up to speed, I'll just share and okay, so click on that. Then you should be able to remix. Oh, I don't see the remix here, but maybe because it's my project. So I've popped the link to my code in there for where we're up to, just to save you some of the graphic stuff. But we're not that far in, so hopefully you should be able to click on that link and continue on. All we're doing is just some graphic stuff right now. What we need to do now, though, is we need to name these. All right, we need to name these correctly. So we're going to just name the eggs just by just a number. So 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to name the green egg correct. And we're going to name the red egg wrong. Okay? So that's what we need to start off with. Now, the other thing I should mention, there are some people I'm actually not sure what you mean, Jack, when you say, okay, but can you talk? I can probably give you a quick rundown of what you missed. I always start a little bit late anyway, because people always arrive, I always start a little bit late anyway to give people a chance to arrive. We'll see how, yeah. At the end, Jack, I'll see if there's anything that you missed out on that you want me to cover. Okay, and at the end we'll be fixing problems and also talking about how to take this game further and how to adapt it. Now, one thing I should mention to everyone, there are people who don't celebrate Easter, and that's totally fine, no problems. In which case, for you, this game doesn't have to be an Easter egg hunt. You can make this same game with different colored balloons if you want, no problems. Doesn't matter too much. So, what hopefully we should all have now is one Sprite, that's an egg, with 5 different costumes. We've got 3 colourful costumes, and we've got a solid green one and a solid red one. And they're all named 1, 2, 3 for the colourful ones, and then the green one is called correct, and the red one is called wrong. All right, so hopefully we should be able to continue. So we're going to call this Sprite, because we should name things properly, egg. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start doing some... Actually, before the coding, let's put in a nice backdrop. So if you go to the bottom right corner, you can't quite see it on my screen because it's cut off. It's just here, bottom right corner. You can choose a backdrop, any backdrop that you like. I quite liked this forest one, so that's the one that I'm going to go with. All right. So, let's first get our eggs spawning and dropping from the top of the screen, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get a when green flag clicked. So we're going to go to events on the left side of the screen, the yellowy orange category, and we're going to get when green flag clicked. And then we're going to get a forever loop. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to looks, so the dark purple category on the left, and we're going to get a switch costume 2. Okay, so switch costume 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a pick random. So, where is the pick random? What category is it in? Write your answers in chat now. Alrighty. Hopefully you got your answers in, because I'm going to give you the answer now. Pick random is in operators. This is how we add some chaos to our game. So we only have 3 Easter eggs. This could change later, but for now we want to pick a random between 1 and 3. All right. And then what we want to do is we want to, let's see. We want to create a clone of myself. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want the eggs falling from the top of the screen, because it's going to create lots of clones. Oh, we also should put a wait in, actually, otherwise this will happen too fast. So we want to put in wait, let's say 1 second. In fact, let's say 0.1 seconds. Okay. So now we need some code to make the eggs fall from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen and delete themselves once they hit the bottom of the screen. So what we need to do is we need a when I start as clone. So let's go to control, the orangey category on the left, grab when I start as clone, and we need a repeat until. Now we've done a lot of this before, so have a think. What have we done before to make the eggs fall from the top of the screen all the way to the bottom of the screen? You might not be able to write it completely in chat, but this is you're going to see a lot of patterns repeat themselves, code that you can take and use elsewhere. We want to make them go from the top to the bottom. What direction do we change? We want to change y by -3. How many times do we want to repeat it? What do we want to repeat it until? So we should have when I start as clone, repeat until, and then we need to go to operators. We need a less than. Less than is this one here. The arrow is pointing to the left. We need to go back to motion, the dark blue. We need to check the Y position of the clone. And the bottom of the screen, what's a good check to run to see if we've reached the bottom of the screen? Less than, let's say minus 179. And then, once they reach the bottom of the screen, we want to delete them. Because if we don't delete our clones, then Scratch will stop making them after a while. So, and there's one more thing that we need to do. We need to make our eggs appear somewhere at the very top line of the screen. Okay? And again, we use some chaos. We use some random number generators, and we use a goTo block. So first, we need goTo, X, and Y. That needs to happen right after when I start as clone. We want them to appear at the very top. So what Y value do we want? Write your answers in chat. Because the answer is 180. But the X value, we want it to be sort of across there. Let's make that a random number. We know where our random numbers are. They're over in operators, the green category. And we look for a pick random. We get this pick random, and we drop it into X. And we want the lowest number to be like over here, and we want the highest number to be like over here. So yeah, 190, 179, those numbers would work as well. I could even try 190. It might not go up that high, but we can give it a try. For Y, that is. But for the pick random, we want them, for the X value, we want the X value to start here and go to about here. So I'm going to say minus 220 to about 220. Okay, let's hit go and see what that does. All right, that seems good. So we've got our original egg that's making all the other eggs. And these are all the clones. Okay, So what I'm going to teach you now is the difference between global variables and local variables. So what we need to do is we need to make it so that we understand the difference between our original egg and all the cloned eggs. So we're going to create a local variable. So how this translates to Scratch is, let's come across to the variables section on the left, dark orange. Let's right-click on my variable, delete my variable, and let's make a new variable. Now, a lot of the time when we make variables, let's click Make a Variable, I ask you to click for all sprites. That means it's a global variable. That means there is one variable for all of the sprites and they all share that variable, which means that the variable can only ever be one thing. So a good example of that might be score or timer. That is something that all the sprites, if there was a timer, all the sprites would use the same variable timer. But now imagine this. Imagine you've got lots of different sprites, and all those sprites have HP, different HP. Can they all share one HP variable? If they do, and that HP goes all the way down to 0, what happens to all the sprites? Even if you, let's say that, you know, this is an adventure game and you have a sword and there's like 5 skeletons and you attack a skeleton, but they all share the same HP variable. What happens when you reduce that variable down to 0, even if you're hitting only one skeleton with your sword? All the skeletons will disappear because they're all sharing one HP variable. So what you need is you need for them to each have their own individual HP variable that they're not sharing with anyone else. And then that way, if you're playing this adventure game with a sword and you go in and you're fighting 5 skeletons, and you hit one skeleton, it has its own HP variable that ticks down. And then when it runs out of its HP variable, it disappears, it dies, but all the others stick around. So that's the difference between global variables, which is for all sprites in Scratch, or local variables for this sprite only. We're going to make a for this sprite only variable, which I haven't done yet so far in all the lessons that I've been showing you. So it's going to be interesting. All right, so we're going to call this Am I a Clone ? Okay? So hopefully that explanation about global variables and local variables makes sense. But if it doesn't, just follow along with me. I'm going to take you through every step of the way. So this variable needs to be called Am I a Clone ? And we need to click for this sprite only. All right, when you've got that, press OK. Now you'll notice the variables come up here, and it should say something like egg, and then this colon, am I a clone? Because it's telling you that this am I a clone variable is special to the egg sprite. Other sprites don't get to use it. And the thing that's interesting with clones is that each clone is going to have its own am I a clone variable. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make it so that we know, so that when we click on clones, they disappear. But when we click on the original egg, nothing happens. So what we need is when I start as clone, directly underneath when I start as clone, we need to set am I a clone to yes. All right, and then what we need to do is once we've got the set am I a clone to yes underneath when I start as clone, we need to make sure that we have underneath when green flag clicked, set am I a clone to no. Okay. Alrighty, Jack, no problems. We're doing another one of these on Thursday. Otherwise, you can watch the replay if you want to start it from the beginning. Okay? So, or you can just hang out and, spend some time with us. That's all fine as well. Okay, so we've now got set am I a clone to yes underneath when I start as clone. And we've got set am I a clone to no underneath when green flag clicked. So what's going to happen is this clone, this sprite here, the original, that's making all the clones, this one says am I a clone no. Whereas these ones say am I a clone yes. That's going to be important for later. All right. So what we need now is we need to create some code that's going to check to see if we are clicking on the correct egg. So as a reminder, what we're aiming for is a game where we're clicking on these, and if they're the right ones, they turn green, and if they're the wrong ones, they turn red. And the score changes accordingly. That's the game that we're aiming for, okay? This is a reminder. So, what we need to do now is we need to make some more variables. So we need to make a variable that is a global variable. So we need to click for all sprites. And we need to call this variable hunting for this egg. All right? So we make that variable, we clicked for all sprites, and we called it hunting for this egg. I'll give you some time to type that. And then once you're done with that one, we need to create another variable for all sprites. Yes, quite right. We need to create the score for all sprites. And then we need to make one more variable. And this one has to be a local variable. Make variable for this sprite only. And it's going to be egg color. So this is going to be a variable that keeps track so that each clone knows what color it is. So that when we click on it, it will tell us, it will be able to know if we got it right or if we got it wrong. Okay? So, we've made all of our variables. We've got am I a clone, we've got egg color, we've got hunting for this egg, and we've got score. And you should see on the top right corner of my screen that am I a clone and egg color both have egg colon in front of them, or whatever the name of your sprite is. So we know those ones are local variables. All right. So, what we need to do now is we need to make sure that at the beginning of the game, we set the score to 0. Because otherwise, then we start a new game and it remembers the score from the last game, and we don't want that. So, what line of code do we put in, and where do we put it to make that happen? So that when we start a new game, we set the score to 0. Write your answers in chat. I'll give you some time to type it in. And the answer is, we want to get a set variable to 0. We click on this white triangle here to change this variable to score. Okay? So set score to 0. Alrighty. And that needs to come right underneath the when green flag clicked. So your code should look like this about now. Very good, very good. All right, so what we need to do now we need to, all right, we're going to do some clever stuff here. So this egg here, well, first of all, let's take a break from the code. Let's do one more graphic, okay? I've given you a lot of heavy information about how variables work. Let's take a break from the code and let's paint a new variable. So bottom right corner, click on the cat face and click paint. Alrighty. Now what we want is we want just a little box, a black box. We want it to be big enough so that it's going to be kind of like, yeah, that seems good. I'll put the egg on top of it. Now, if you end up with, your black box going over the egg, to fix that, you just pull it away, move it to where you want it, and then put the egg back on top of the black box. All right. So this black box is going to be our hunting for. It's going to say the words in white. There we go. Hunting for colon. And then once you've made these words, you can shrink them down a bit. Uh-oh. And if you double click on it, you should be able to rewrite it. Okay, cool. That seems good. Remember, you click on this mouse to select various things, and then you can change them, move them around, that kind of thing. So now what you should have is you should have the egg sitting on top of just a little black box which says hunting for, which lets the player know this is the egg that we're looking for. So this is just an aesthetic thing. There is no code that we need for this sprite, but I think it makes it a bit easier to figure out what you're meant to be doing in this game. All right, so how's everyone going with doing that graphic there? Just going to make sure that my project is updated. As always, if you need to, you can have a look at my project. I've put the link into the chat. Just scroll up a bit, and you should be able to find it, and you can check out my code so far. If you're getting stuck, or if you're having any other problems, just say so in chat, and we can help you out. All right, so got about 15 minutes left. That's just about enough time to get the rest of this game working. So what we need to do now is we need to make a few little changes using our new variables. I'm just going to take a bit of time just in case people are finishing up their graphics for their hunting for little black boxes. But when everyone is stressful, is it, Blake? Sorry, I'm giving you some new ideas, but these new ideas are really useful. if you want to be making games, like I mentioned before, with you want to make an adventure game. This is the code that you can do to do that kind of thing. So I'm gonna take it easy, go nice and slow, and what we'll do is we just need to put a little bit more code into these. Okay. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a set variable 2, and we're gonna put it right in the top of this forever loop. So we should have a forever loop just underneath when green flag clicked. We want to put a set egg, hunting for this egg. So we've got the forever set hunting for this egg to, and then we're just going to grab our pick random 1 to 3 from just below it and drag it up. So now, what we should have is forever set hunting for this egg to pick random 1 to 3. Okay, so that is going to decide what egg we are hunting for. So now we need to make sure that this egg changes to the same egg, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to grab from the variables category, that orangey one on the left, variables, we're going to grab hunting for this egg. It should be shaped like this, and we should be able to slot that right into switch costume. Okay, so switch costume to hunting for this egg. So the first thing that we do is we choose a random number for hunting for this egg variable to become. So that number might be 1, 2, or 3. Then we switch the costume to that same number. Then what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that we make some clones. So we're going to make it so that we make a bunch of clones first before we change hunting for this egg again. Because currently, let's test it. Let me show you what happens. We hit go, it's changing too quickly. That's too hard. We need this hunting for to stay the same. We've got some other problems as well. We'll come to those in a bit. Okay, so let's get a repeat. So you get a repeat from events, the yellow category on the left. And what we want to do is we want to get this repeat so that it goes just above create clone of myself, okay? Now, you can set this to a number that you want, something between 30 and 50, I would say. We want to make 30 or 50 clones before we switch what we're hunting for. I'm actually going to put another random number in there. So if you want, you can just put 30, repeat 30. I'm going to go to operators. I'm going to get pick random. And I'm going to say pick random 30 to 50. Because I want to make 30 to 50 eggs falling down before I change what we're hunting for. So now hit that. Let's hit the green flag and see what happens. So now the problem is the eggs that we're making are all the same. So we can fix this nice and easy. We're going to do something very similar just in when I start as clone. So the first thing that we do is we set am I a clone to yes. The reason for that is going to become clear soon, don't worry. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set another variable. So go to variables, we go set, am I a, to set, the variable we want to set is egg color. And again, we want to pick random, 1 to 3. So that's going to be the individual egg color of all the clones that are being made. Then what we need to do is do the same thing we did over here. Switch costume. So we go across to looks, the purple section on the left. We grab switch costume, put that right underneath where it says set egg color. And we're going to switch our costume to whatever the egg color is. All right, so if we want to slow it down, so actually first let's test this now. So that's good. There's one more thing that we should do. Some of these eggs are coming in front of the hunting for, and that's kind of annoying to look at. So to make them go behind hunting for and the original egg, what we're going to do is we're going to go across to looks. We're going to scroll down. We're going to grab this line, which we haven't used a lot of layers. We're going to grab go to front layer, but you don't want it to go to the front layer. So we click on this white triangle. We want it to go to the back layer. All right, so hopefully everyone's still with me. Let's test that again. So now they should be going behind. Yeah, that's good. Now, if you want to slow down how fast the eggs are going down, you can change this, change y by -3 here. You can change that to -2 if you want it to happen a bit slower. But hold off for now, because it kind of makes a bit more sense once the game's all finished. Okay? All right, so now what we've got working is we have our hunting for changes only every so often. It should stay this way for a while before it changes. But at the same time, our eggs are being spawned at the top. And each of these eggs has 2 little variables in them. One variable says, am I a clone? Yes. And the other one says egg color, and then gives a number, 1, 2, or 3. All right, so that's what we've got. So now we need our final piece of code, and then we're all done. So we want to start, let's go down here. Uh-oh. We need to go across to events, and we need to grab when this sprite clicked. Okay? So events is the yellowy section on the left. We need when this sprite clicked. Alrighty. So, crazy kid, you've said help. Oh, I'll slow down? No problems. Alrighty, so crazy kid, you've said help, but what you got to do, got to share your project. If your Scratch project is not working, so you got to share your project, like I said at the beginning of the stream, and then you got to let me know what your Scratch name is, and then I can look up your project. Remember? I said that at the beginning of the stream. So we're going to write into chat, my project is not working, my Scratch name is, and then give me your Scratch name. And then I'll look you up and I can give you some help. Okay? So, I'm not going to... So in the meantime, while I'm waiting for Crazy Kid to write his Scratch name into chat, you got to give me your Scratch name, Crazy Kid. Write it down for me. Thank you very much. All right, Catman Sim. So, I think it's, so, am I a clone? Yes. Egg color. Am I a clone? No. Score to 0. This all seems fine. Nothing wrong here. And remember, Catman Sim / Crazy Kid, there's a delay between what I say and what you receive, remember? About 10-15 seconds. It looks fine. I mean, so it all seems to be working okay. Yeah, this is fine. Don't worry about it. You're doing well. If you want it to go slower, then what you do is you find this line here, change y by -3. Change that to -2, they'll happen slower. Change it to -1, they'll happen even slower. Okay? And if you want them to be less eggs, then what you do is you go to this line here, wait 0.1 seconds at the end of our block, which starts when green flag clicked. So if you find the line, wait 0.1 seconds, just change that to 0.2 or 0.3. But that might be a bit too slow. I don't know. Your project's fine. What's wrong? Oh, right. Okay. So what you need, so this go to back layer, all right, you ready? This go to back layer, you popped it here, but it needs to go here when I start as clone. So all the cloned eggs go to back layer. Okay? So that's what you need to do. So this go to back layer needs to be when I start as clone, go to back layer. So yeah, so it helps if you let me know what you need to fix as well, because it looked like it was fine. I just thought you weren't quite up to where I was at. Okay, so all you need to do is when I start as clone, go to back layer. And that should fix what I think was bothering you, all right? Okay, so we should be good to continue now. We've got this last bit of code in, and then the game's working and it's all done, all right? So, when this sprite clicked, that's what we need. So we need to go to Events. We need to grab when this sprite clicked. And need to pop it out here. All right, all ready to finish this off? We're nearly there, guys, on the home straight. We need to put in an if statement. So, where do we get our if statements from? We get them from control, the orangey category on the left. Let's get an if. And let's put it right underneath when this sprite clicked. Now we need to ask the question, when this sprite clicked, am I a clone? Because we don't want to be able to click on this one and make it work. So we need to only be able to click on the clones. So the question that we need to ask is an equals question. So we need to go to operators. we need to get an equals. So it's this one here. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. And the question that we are asking is, am I a clone? If am I a clone equals yes. So when this sprite clicked, if am I a clone equals yes, then we do all this. So now that we've got that, what we need is an if-then. So go across to events on the left. Scroll down. Oh, not events. I always do this. Control. We need control. So the orangey category on the left, control. We need an if, then, else. So not an if-then, an if-then, else. So now what we need to do is we need to ask a different question. And it's another equals question. So let's grab another equals from operators. And we're going to get two variables and put these in. So if egg color equals hunting for this egg. So this number, this hunting for the egg, should represent this yellow egg here. And the egg color variable represents the color of the clones. So what it's going to do is it's going to ask if those numbers are the same. All right. So what we need to do is then if they're both the same color, we've hunted for the correct egg. So let's do something now. Do you remember the right and wrong costumes? This is why we made them. So let's go across to looks, the purple category on the left. Let's get switch costume to correct. We're going to switch the costume to correct. We want to go to variables because we want to score a point. So let's get a change. We want to change score by 1. So we grab change a variable by 1, and we want that score, and we want that variable to be score. Okay? Still with me? Then what we're going to do is we're going to put a weight in right underneath that. And I'm going to make this wait for 0.1 seconds. You only want this to happen very briefly. And then we want to delete the clone. To get delete the clone, you go to Control, the orangey section, and look for delete this clone. So this code should be what you have so far. In our if-then statement, if-then-else statement, it should be if egg color equals hunting for this egg, switch costume to correct, change score by 1, wait 0.1 seconds, and then delete this clone. Okay? So let's see if that works. Let's hit play on the game. Yeah. So it should only work if we're getting them right. If we're getting them wrong, it's not doing anything. All right. Seems good. Seems good. All right. Hopefully everyone's still with me. If that's all working, now what we're going to do is we're going to look down and we're going to put something in the space underneath where it says else. Okay? So the else is whenever we're wrong, because it means the colors are different, the numbers are different. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something very, very similar. In fact, right-click on switch costume just above in the if statement, and then normal click on where it says duplicate. And then put all of that into the else. So to do that, you right-click, which is this one, one here, this finger here. On switch costume, you click normal duplicate, and you put it in else. All right, so hopefully you've all done that. Let's have a look down. We want to change some of this. We want to switch the costume to not correct, but wrong. We want to change the score not by 1, but -1. And then everything else can stay the same. And that's everything. That's all the code. We're done. Now, if anyone's got any problem, let's test it, actually. Oh, now, someone else was asking, how do you get variables to be invisible? Because we only need our score variable to be visible. To do that, what you do is you go across to variables, and you can see there are tick boxes next to these variables, and you can untick the ones that you don't want to see. So we only want to see score. But make sure your game is working before you do this, because it's useful seeing the variables, because then you can figure out something's going wrong. All right, let's test my game. Let's see if it's working. Okay, that all seems right. And that all seems good as well. All right. So, how did everyone else go? Did anyone have any problems? If so, feel free to share your project. Or if you didn't have any problems, yeah, share your project. Let me know when it's published and ready for me to play. I want to play some of your egg hunting games. If you've had any problems, let me know. Now's the time that we can fix them. So I know I gave you some pretty dense looking code today, but this is actually really useful. Think about what you could use this for. You could use this in like puzzle games. This is really useful for keeping track of multiple things in like adventure games or combat games. Alrighty. And what sorts of things could you add to this game? What sorts of things would you like to add to this game? Do you think it should have a timer that only gives you a certain amount of time to play? And then whatever your score is, that's your score. Do you think it should... Oh, I'm doing this wrong. Do you think it should have a high score? If you add in more eggs, so if we've got 1, 2, 3, and just 1, 2, or 3, and then correct and wrong. So if we add in more eggs, like if we added in like egg 4, what would I need to change in the code? I'm just going to quickly change this. Huh. Actually, I'm going to do something kind of interesting. Let's go. Alrighty, now if I do this, we might see something go a little interesting. Yeah! What do we do? Cool, like... let's do a light blue one. Ooh. Kind of interesting. Why not? So if I added in another 4th egg, what code would I need to change? Yes, you would have to change the pick random. So we've got this pick random here, and in this pick random here. So if you want to add more eggs, that's how you'd have to do it. You have to change, I've now got 4 eggs, so I've got to go 4 there and 4 there. The other thing that you should probably make sure is that it's named correctly and also that it's in the correct place. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not like down here or something. So if I hit go now, those eggs should be in there as well. Alrighty. Very nice. Inches. Oh, Darpy Darp got in first. Alrighty, Darpy Darp. Okay. Actually, let's leave that open. Go to Darpy Darp. Easter egg hunt. Alrighty. Oh, you made it faster. Oh, and some of your colors are similar. Oh. Just be careful, Darpy Darp, to keep language okay, alright? This is a bit of a grey area, but we should probably keep our language good while we're doing the CoderDojo. Uh-oh. Oh man, this is so hard. Oh, you've made it so fast. I love it. Very good. Alrighty. Who's next? Infamous. 09 Infamous. Easter egg. Oh, it worked that time. Good. All right. Sometimes when I click on the, oh, that's cool, sort of like font. I like that. Nice. Come on. Uh-oh. Very nice indeed. Uh-oh. Nice. Very nice indeed, Infamous. Okay. Next we have... Darpy Darp. I've already played Darpy Darp, right? Yes. Already played Darpy Darp. Good, good. Inches. Huh. Nice. Egg palm tree. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's happened? What's happened, Inches? Okay, who else sees what we need to change in Inches code to make it work? Because it's not working, right? Does anyone else see it? What do we see here? So, set egg color to yes. Set am I a clone to pick random 1 to 3. So if we change this, set am I a clone to yes, and set egg color, might just... Yes! Working! There we go. That's all it takes. So, inches, just change that now in your code. So go into when I start as clone, set, it's got after go to back layer, set, and then change that to am I a clone to yes, and set egg color to pick random 1 to 3. That's the way. All right, perfect, very good. So, I think that's everyone. We ran a little bit late today again. I like to try and get these done a little bit sooner. It didn't run too late, but still. Thank you everyone for coming. Feel free to add your project to the Futures Lab studio. I think I've got everyone as a curator on Futures Lab Studio now. Just a few rules. You can add other projects to the studio, but try and add your favorite projects to the studio. Don't add all of your projects to the studio, because we want there to be like a really good selection of our games, like our, like our favorite games that we've made. That's kind of what we want to have on there. And also, no projects with like swearing or anything inappropriate on them in there. I will just find and delete them. And also no games about coronavirus. I don't like to talk about it while I'm on stream because it's everywhere and it's spooky and scary, and this is a time when we get to have some fun and code and not have to worry about it. So I want our studio to be the same, like a bit of a safe haven from that. So the next stream is on Thursday, 3:30 p.m. We are going to be making a racing game. So tune in for that. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to be using a move block, which I don't tend to use a lot. I use a lot of change X and change Y. We're going to be using move and directional stuff, which is going to be really interesting. So come back to the YouTube channel later to leave some comments below. Let me know what sorts of future games you'd like to play. If there's like oh, Jonathan, can we learn how to make this game? Then leave that in the comments. As always, if you subscribe and ring the bell, which makes me sound like a terrible YouTuber, you will get notifications for future live streams. So obviously I didn't do a live stream on Monday. That's because it was the public holiday and I wanted to have the long weekend. But aside from that, aside from public holidays, every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday we'll be doing more of these. So I hope to see some of you guys on Thursday, where we're going to be doing the racing game. 270 score, crazy kid. That's awesome. But yeah, until then, guys, stay awesome. Be cool to each other. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time, ninjas.